Good morning, friends. This is our first morning talk on the category of emotions. I would say probably part 3. This will be my last first morning talk for the year. Then I'll take some well-deserved time off to rest. I'm going to Italy with my kids for a few days to see my mom and their grandma. But today I would like to very briefly touch on the subject of how emotions are made. So our brain, throughout our entire lifespan, even probably before we are born, creates internal neural networks. And these have the goal of making sense of the stimuli that our body and our senses perceive, and to try to make sense of the world around us. Of course, when we are born, we are we are blind about awareness of what the world around us means. But then as we are nurtured and conditioned, we start associating words and context to the experience that we had in the moment. So the brain then creates several internal neural networks that are a bit like, to try to make you understand, you know, in winter when you got your heating on, you got a thermostat, right? So if you want to keep the temperature around 18 degrees, then what happens is that when the temperature goes below 18 degrees, the thermostat will engage the heating system until the temperature will be brought back to 18 degrees. And that is made for efficiency reasons. Imagine that every day you went out, you switched your heating off, and when you came back home, there were maybe 5 degrees in your house. Now, to bring that 5 degrees to 18 degrees, that will require a lot more energy. And therefore, for efficiency reasons, this is what thermostats are about and how people use them. Some people decided to switch off the heating every day. But yeah, that's a bit like the philosophy behind that, okay? So our brain, similarly, has got these internal neural networks that are always on to help us make sense of the world in an efficient way. Because if every time our senses communicated a stimuli to our brain, we were to bootstrap from zero to try to make sense of what the stimuli meant, that would be too energy consuming. So over time, our brain, based on our experiences, what we learned about the world around us and the stimuli, both internal and external, continuously scans our internal state through a process called interoception, and also the state of the world around us through our senses, and makes predictions of what that might be or might lead to. And then we live reality. And if the prediction matches the reality, then the brain will generate biologically and chemically positive feelings, or whatever feelings the brain had predicted. However, if the reality does not match the prediction, then our brain makes adjustments. And if the gap between our prediction and the reality is one that makes our body let's say, feel the sensations of being sad or angry or disgust and so on and so forth, then that is what our brain will generate biochemically, and we will feel that particular emotion. Why is that important for emotional well-being? That's important because the key to emotions is the prediction of the brain, because the prediction is driven by our experiences and what we have learned. That means that we can learn different concepts, make different experiences, and broaden our experiences and become more precise in terms of our predictions. Because the wider the gap between our predictions and the reality, the bigger the emotional volatility. Oops, I need to cross the road. So, this is my message for you, my friends. We all have learned the way we see the world since before even we were born. Over the course of our lives, we have created meanings to the world that surrounds us, about our internal body state, and we have helped, let's say, the brain has made these concepts readily available for instant predictions. Then, based on these experiences, the brain creates the predictions of the life around us, of the world around us. But then there is reality. And reality is never what we think it is, because that's our prediction. Now, the gaps between reality and prediction determine our emotional well-being. For example, if we are honest about what we expect out of a certain situation, because we have trained our mind to see situations objectively, then the gap with reality will be quite small, which means it won't cause us emotional distress. But if we do not grow our prediction base, because maybe we don't learn, we don't read, we don't experience the world, and therefore we keep our prediction framework to whatever age we decided that we would stop learning, then the gap or the gaps with reality will only keep increasing, creating a lot of potentials for emotional distress. So, the first invitation to you is keep learning every day, be authentic, so look at the body, your body state and the world around you, and make sure that you are honest about what's going on inside and outside. And then the gaps with reality will shorten, and as a consequence, you will live a more emotionally balanced life. I leave you here for 2025. I wish you all, to those who celebrate, a Merry Christmas. I wish to all of you a Happy New Year, and I'll see you back in 2026. Bye.